having new goals without new habits is kind of like, having a new car without wheels.
Well, just like there's neuroplasticity, your habits, your routines, and your rituals are plastic. Rituoplasticity.
Many people think that they lack motivation when what they really lack is clarity.
Want to be happy? Build a life, not just a business.
Living that believing life. Out here living that believing life. Every day we living that believing life. Hustle like we living that believing life. Living life, yeah, so we grinding it out. Every single day we be grinding it out. Hustle like we living that believing life, oh. That believing life, oh.
Hey, it's Evan Carmichael, and this channel is created to help you overcome the #1 challenge that is holding you back, a lack of belief in yourself. You watch these videos because you know there's something more inside you. You've got Michael Jordan level talent at something. So today, let's live your best belief life and learn the 5 truths about habits that nobody talks about. Rule number 1, follow the rituoplasticity regime with Robin Sharma.
The rituoplasticity. What does rituoplasticity mean? Well, just like there's neuroplasticity, your habits, your routines, and your rituals are plastic. Rituoplasticity. Here's a model that will explain, hopefully, habit installation. First of all, every habit goes through 3 phases. Number 1, destruction. Of course it's going to be hard at first. You're destroying your neural pathway of the old habit and the emotional architecture of that old habit. Every routine or ritual or habit goes through, number 1, destruction. Approximately 20 days. 66 days to install. Look at this, from the starting point to anything you've learned today you want to install as a habit, from 0 to 66 days. At 66 days, you will reach what researchers call automaticity. It'll be easy. You'll get up at 5 a.m. automatically. You'll journal, go the extra mile, practice your craft automatically. But you have to stay with it for 66 days. First 20 days approximately is phase number 1, destruction. Phase number 2, confusion. After you've destroyed it, it's like a renovation. There's a mess. Now you're confused. It's normal if you're confused. If you're confused, you're still thinking for yourself. If you're confused, it means you're growing. Society says, what's wrong with you? You're confused all the time. I'm suggesting to you, you're confused all the time because every single day you're disrupting who you used to be yesterday. And of course, society doesn't understand you. To have the results very few have, you've got to live and behave like very few do. After confusion, stage number 3, the final 20 days approximately, integration. Integration of the new habit. Destruction, of course it's going to be hard for 20 days. Confusion, phase 2, messy in the middle. You're going to feel like giving up. This won't make sense. It's new to you. Finally, integration. You get to automaticity. It becomes a part of your new belief, your new way of being. It becomes easy. Here's the fascinating thing. You only use willpower until you get to automaticity. This is the secret of the great athletes. They are spending all this energy on willpower just to install the routine. Once the routine becomes automatic, the exciting thing is they free up their willpower for their next routine to be installed.
Rule number 2, work on a non-conscious level with John Assaraf.
This is a success principle you must understand. There's a huge difference between setting goals, having a vision and setting goals, even in writing, versus achieving goals. And so you're probably asking, what's the difference? He said setting goals is an intellectual and imagination exercise. Setting goals is an intellectual and imagine exercise that your conscious brain, right? I'm going to show you one of the little brains today from the sitting here on my desk. your conscious brain, left prefrontal cortex specifically, where you get to choose. What is it you would love to have your life be like? What is the imagination, of the ideal life that you'd like? He says everybody could do that. He says, but achieving goals happens as a result of having the right beliefs, perceptions, habits, attitudes at the non-conscious level, where all of the habits reside. Part of the hippocampus part of your brain that drives your automatic behavior day in and day out is what is going to determine whether you achieve those goals or not. He says, using willpower to achieve goals is like using gunpowder. It's just a starter. Using resilience or using your imagination, those are all really good conscious abilities that anybody can use. He says, but if you don't develop the habits at the non-conscious level, which include your self-image for how you see your life, you're never going to achieve those goals.
Hey, this is John Asraf, and do you love good books? I love to read because there's so much wisdom in books. You get to take somebody else's knowledge, skills, research, pay $15-20, and you learn so much. Now, I'm reading this awesome book called Built to Serve. Find your purpose and become the leader you were born to be. And one of my new friends, really smart guy, really great guy who serves a lot of people, Evan Carmichael, wrote it. And I'm going to read a little bit from chapter number 1. And I love this piece, and maybe it's because I just watched the series on TV on Michael Jordan, The Last Dance, which is really great, by the way, also. One of the things he says here is everybody has Michael Jordan talent at something. Everybody has a Michael Jordan talent at something. You just haven't found it yet. Or you have and you don't believe in yourself enough to go all in. To go all in, right? And you're a genius. I believe you're a genius. And so does he. You're amazing. You were not meant to live a photocopy of someone else's life. You were not created to wake up and do work that is below your capabilities. You have Michael Jordan level talent at something, and you need to uncover exactly what your purpose is and how you can serve and use the serve. So lots of pearls and gems and motivational pieces. Pick up Built to Serve. Evan Carmichael, Rising Star.
Rule number 3, have a plan with James Clear.
One of my favorite studies is about exercise. And they had 3 cohorts in this study. So they have first cohort, they said, I just want you to track how often you work out over the next few weeks, right? So that's the standard cohort, the control group. Second group, they said, we want you to track how often you exercise. But we're also going to give you a motivational speech presentation, talk about the benefits of heart health, why habits are good for you, and so on. So this is the motivated group, right? The third group, they got the same presentation, so they're equally motivated, and then they did one thing differently. And that one thing was they filled out this sentence. They said, during the next week, I will partake in at least 20 minutes of vigorous exercise on this day, at this time, in this place, right? They specifically stated their intention to implement the behavior. So implementation intention. Here's what happened. First group, 1 out of 3 of them worked out. Second group, motivation did nothing. As soon as they left the researcher's facility the next day, they weren't motivated. It's like reading a book or watching a YouTube or listening to a motivational speaker and then you forget all about it 20 minutes later. But the third group, the group that had a specific plan for how they were going to implement the behavior, 9 out of 10 of them worked out. So you can increase your odds of success 2 to 3x just by having a specific plan. And this is the insight. Many people think that they lack motivation when what they really lack is clarity. They think that they need to get more motivated, that they need willpower in order to execute on a habit. If I just felt like writing, if I just felt like meditating, if I felt like working out, then I would do it. But in fact, they don't have a plan for it. And so they wake up each day thinking, I wonder if I'll feel motivated to write today. I wonder if I'll feel motivated to work out today. But instead, you can take the decision making out of it by explicitly stating when, where, and how you want to implement the habit. It sounds easy to say, let's just start a plan. Let's write down exactly what you should do, and then maybe you'll follow through on it. But of course, we all know that there are challenges that arise. It's not quite that easy. So here's a little strategy that I like to use to make sure you can come up with a better plan of action, and it's called a failure pre-mortem. So the way that it works is you think about the habit, the project, the goal, whatever the most important thing is that you want to work on. And then I want you to imagine, fast forward 6 months from now, and you failed. And then tell the story of why you failed. What happened? What challenges did you encounter? What was it that took you off course? When I do this with businesses, sometimes we call it the kill the company exercise, because everybody just sits around and thinks about ways to kill the company in the next 6 months. And once you have all that stuff laid out on the table in front of you, you can start to make better choices about how to develop a plan. You can start to have if-then plans. So not only do I want to exercise for 20 minutes on Monday at 5 p.m., but also if I do not exercise because I have to take my kid to practice or whatever, then Tuesday morning at 7 a.m. I will go in, right? You can have ways to adjust for these challenges.
Rule number 4, set up triggers with Brendon Burchard.
I know you all have big goals, big dreams, big aspirations, just like I do. You've got ambitions to become an amazing person, to build your career, to create, to contribute, to give, to be an awesome human being. But all of that is impossible without great habits set up. If you don't have routine and structure set up in a way that will keep you on track, then you'll fall off. And having new goals without new habits is kind of like, having a new car without wheels. The habits are the wheels. They're the things that make you able to achieve the goals. So you gotta have good habits. But the challenge for most people isn't that knowledge. I mean, you need to have good habits. It's you can't keep the habit going, right? Have you ever started at the new year, you're gonna get healthier, and you start that habit of working out on a more regular basis, and then it goes away? Or you say, I'm gonna be more kind and more patient and more awesome to my partner, my lover, and you start being nice for 2 or 3 days, and then on the 4th day, you're a jerk, and you're like, what happened? I said I was gonna be nicer. It's that you didn't set up the most important thing you needed to maintain a habit. You have to set up trigger moments to activate your habits. What do I mean by that? Well, let's say you want to become a better person. You want to become more kind, more patient, more loving with people. Now, you can just set that intention or write that down in your vision, or your journal, or set up on a vision board that you look at once in a while. But in day-to-day life, it's not enough. You need things to trigger you, to remind you to be that particular kind of person, right? It's almost like if you could have a little angel speaking in your ear all day long to tell you what to do and how to be, you'd obviously become better. Well, that makes sense. Well, let's use that idea. Let's use that idea by setting up alarms on our phones that trigger us to do the very things we need to do. This is gonna be so basic, you're gonna laugh, and then I'll also tell you how I've literally taught this to Fortune 50 CEOs, and they said it was the one thing that changed their life the most dramatically. So let's start with this. Let's have a goal in mind. Let's say you want to become more present and calm throughout the day. Again, you could write that down on a journal. I'm gonna be more present and calm. You could meditate in the morning saying, today I'm gonna be more present and calm. And you could start out with good intentions, but those fall apart without a trigger moment set up throughout the day to remind you that. So what if you did this? What if you just set up on your phone 3 alarms during the day with a label that said, close your eyes, take 10 deep breaths in, remind yourself to be calm. So let's say you're going through your day, it's crazy, right? It's 10 a.m. and all of a sudden, bing, your phone goes off, you look down and it says, close your eyes, take 10 deep breaths. And then again, it happens at 2 o'clock. And again, it happens at 6 p.m. And again, it happens at 8 p.m. What's gonna happen? You always look at your phone, don't you? It's gonna go throughout the day, you're gonna forget. And the funniest thing is, I've had so many people do this worldwide. We're talking about hundreds of thousands of people I've taught to do this, hundreds of thousands. And they tell me all the time, that changed everything. And you'll think, once you set it up, that the next day, you'll forget about it. No, that alarm will go off. You forgot you set the dang alarm. There it goes off in your face, and you're like, all right, I'm trying to be calmer and more present. Close my eyes, take 10 deep breaths, reground myself, here we go. You can't do it once a day. You have to have moments throughout the day that trigger you to enact the new behavior. I know this makes sense to you, but it's a challenge for a lot of people because they never set those things up. So what if you did it with an alarm? So for example, for me on the opposite spectrum, I don't want to just be calmer and more present. I want more energy throughout the day. So here's what I do. One of my big trigger moments is every time my butt hits a chair, I don't care if I'm on a plane or I was like where we're shooting here, I wrote a lot of my books here. I wrote the Motivation Manifesto here. I wrote The Charge here. And if I'm going to write, my butt hits the chair, I grab my phone, I open the timer, and I set 50 minutes. Now at 50 minutes, the timer goes, bzzz, it starts buzzing, and I look at that and I go, oh, that's my trigger to get energy. So I stand up, I go get some water, I take a glass of water, drink it down, I do some stretches, and I do some exercise just really briefly, or I'll go for a walk, whatever it is, but I'll do something that usually takes just 2 to 5 minutes. Then I'll sit back down, I'll set that 50-minute alarm, and I'll work. And what that does is every 50 minutes, it triggers me to change how I'm physically moving. It changes my attention so that throughout the day, I'm continually refreshed. So I never have that 2, 3, 4 o'clock time where I'm like, you know? Why? Because I've triggered my day so that my energy is maintained throughout the day. Makes sense, right? This could be as simple as, let's say you want to be healthier in your life. Okay, let's set up some trigger moments for you in this way. Let's say every time you drop off the kids, on the way back to the house, you stop at the grocery store and get some fresh produce. That's just a trigger. It's like, okay, did one thing, drop kids off. Now, tied to that, triggered from that action, drop kids off, is go to health food store. Or let's say you want to get healthier in the morning. One of the easiest ways to help people maintain a better exercise program is this. Set a trigger, you wake up in the morning, your first action is to drink water, put your exercise shoes on, might get dressed if you were naked, just saying. So you get dressed, put your shoes on, you go downstairs or you go to the gym, and that's the trigger. You woke up, you do these actions. Nothing interrupts those actions, that's the action. And you have to have those set up. One of my other favorite trigger moments to set up is door frame triggers. What do you mean by that? When you walk into a new room, to have a psychological trigger go off in your mind that you've associated with that door frame. So let me give you an example. If I walk into my house at night, if I've been working all day and I'm gonna walk in, I'm gonna see my lady, I have it so when I ever walk through the doors of my house, 3 words repeat off immediately in my mind because I've done it so many times consciously. I went to the door, I said the 3 words, said the 3 words, said the 3 words, and I did this so many times that now when I walk through a door, my mind automatically triggers those 3 words, and I remember to be those 3 words. So what words would you love to have describe you as a person? That you would be happy if that was how people described you? What would those words be? Have those and now set them up in your life. I teach executives to do this as well. I have them have a door frame trigger when they walk into their office in the morning. As soon as they walk through that door frame, they have, boom, 3 words go through their mind about how they want to be perceived as a leader. I have them set up another door frame. Every time they walk into a meeting, into the conference room, when they walk through the doors of the conference room, they have another 3 words that trigger off for them. And it just reminds them how to be. So these aren't big, crazy things. A lot of people think they have to completely change their life. What would change your life completely is setting up more trigger moments and associations that when you see something, you do this. That when this action is taken, then that happens. That when you have the opportunity to set up alarms on your phone, you set them up so that you're interrupted in your everyday life to remind yourself to stick to the habits, to stick to the intention. You do that enough on a continual basis, you'll find yourself in so many ways completely rejuvenated, and I promise you'll stick to your habits even more. And once you do that, you know that everything changes.
And rule number 5, the last one before a very special bonus clip, is pick one habit at a time with Tim Ferriss.
The best way to maintain a habit is not to expect yourself to follow it at all times. Number 2 is to simultaneously recognizing that adherence to habits ebbs and flows. The mistake that people make is they say, all right, I've had this diet, I just digressed, therefore I should just throw it all out and I'm gonna eat cookies for the next 6 months because I had one cookie. And I think that is flawed on a lot of levels. There are tools you can use like Lyft, which I'm involved with, which was incubated by the Twitter guys out of Obvious. But ultimately, the last point I'll make is one new habit at a time. The best way to avoid abandoning new habits is to only adopt one at a time. And one of the issues with cooking, and this will be my last point, is when people say, I want to learn how to cook, they're typically trying to adopt 5 or so new habits at a time. Grocery shopping, prep, cooking, cleaning. Of course you're going to fail. So just picking one at a time.
Now I've got a really special bonus clip that I think you're going to enjoy. But before that, it's time for the question of the day. I want to know, out of these 5 truths, which one do you need to best apply to your habits right now? Let me know. Put it down in the comments below. And if you made it this far in the video, you're still here watching, I want to celebrate you because Believe Nation, we don't just watch videos, we do something about it. So if that's you and you commit, you promise you're going to take action immediately after watching this video, give me a hashtag Believe down in the comments and tell me where you're from because I want to celebrate you. You need people in your life to hold you accountable because you will never push yourself as hard as you can go. You get a personal trainer not because of what exercises you should do. You can look that up online. The real value of a trainer is to have somebody right there in front of you in your face telling you to do 3 more reps of that exercise when you want to quit. When you're gonna tap out, and if you were by yourself, you'd say, I'm done, and they say, give me 3 more, because all of the growth happens in that last set. If there's nobody around you to hold you to a higher standard, you'll always know that there's another level, but you'll be too afraid to reach for it yourself. So let's use me as an example. I want to solve the world's biggest problem. I don't think people believe in themselves enough. It's why I created this channel and all the other ones I have, and the books and the speaking and everything I do. I want to go out and do this impossible thing that's never gonna happen. I'm never gonna solve the world's biggest problem, and yet I wake up every day and I try to do it. And I use a combination of what I call aspirational mentors, which are people like Steve Jobs and Elon Musk and the people that I profile on this channel. And then I also do it from people who challenge me one-on-one. If you watch my Entrepreneur Advice channel, I get pushed every week by my agent Steve, by psychologists in Australia, by people who are coaching me on how to get better. And they push me and they tell me I need to do more. And they tell me I'm being an idiot in these areas. And like, go, this is the homework. And the more uncomfortable I feel during that process, usually the better the advice is. If I think about the tour that I launched last year, and now the tour that I'm doing this year, it started as a free tour and became a paid tour when my agent Steve pushed me to do it. Like, you need to charge for this. And immediately my heart's booming. Boom, 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 boom. I'm scared. It means I have to do it. Having people around you who can push you to do the things that you need to do, who make you nervous, who make you scared, who see your blind spots, who cut through your BS, who tell you that's just fear talking, because we'll come up with really logical reasons why we can't do something. Or aspirational mentors who, when you see how they react to things, how they see things, how they understand the world, and then you look at what you're doing, it forces you to be pulled up. It forces you to take the next step up on the staircase. You need to do it because your environment's been perfectly designed to keep you where you are. Your friends, your family, all of it. It's keeping you exactly where you are. And the difference between where you are now and where you want to be and where you can be in a year, in 2 years, in 5 years, in 10 years is going to be the people you have around you and how much they're willing to push you, to believe in you, to tell you what you may not want to hear, but you need to hear to grow, to challenge yourself and get to the next level. If you want to know the best advice on how to build habits effectively, check out the video right there next to me. I think you'll enjoy it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.
Some of you, your ritual is to work out 5 times a week. I can see it clearly. 4 to 6 times a week, it's obvious. Because you couldn't look like that